The hidden heir. When siblings stole the wrong inheritance, they convinced her their grandmother left everything to them because she was the family disappointment. For 5 years, she believed she'd been written out of the will for not being successful enough. Then she discovered she'd inherited $8 million, and her siblings had been stealing it the entire time. Welcome back to Consequences & Co., where greedy family members always underestimate the quiet ones and inheritance fraud comes with criminal charges. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the most satisfying inheritance revenge story that's exploding on Reddit and TikTok right now. This is about Claire Bennett, a struggling artist who spent years believing her family rejected her, only to discover she was actually a millionaire whose siblings had been systematically stealing her inheritance through fraud and deception. Hit that like button if you've ever been the black sheep who proved everyone wrong, and let's watch some greedy siblings learn why you should never steal from someone who inherited more than you did. Chapter 1: The Family Disappointment. Claire Bennett had always been the odd one out in her high-achieving family. While her older sister Amanda became a corporate lawyer and her brother Marcus built a successful real estate business, Claire pursued her passion for art, struggling financially but creatively fulfilled. Their grandmother, Elizabeth Bennett, had been a successful businesswoman who built a commercial real estate empire worth over $30 million. Claire had been close to her grandmother growing up, spending weekends at Elizabeth's estate learning about art, literature, and following your dreams despite family pressure. When Elizabeth passed away at 87, Claire was devastated. She'd lost not just her grandmother but her only family member who understood her choices and supported her unconventional career path. The funeral was awkward. Amanda and Marcus barely spoke to Claire, treating her with the same dismissive condescension they'd shown since she'd chosen art school over law school. "Grandmother was always disappointed you wasted your potential," Amanda told Claire coldly after the service. "She told me multiple times she wished you'd made something of yourself." The words cut deeply, especially coming from Amanda, who'd always been Elizabeth's apparent favorite. A week later, Amanda and Marcus met Claire at a coffee shop to discuss Elizabeth's estate. They came prepared with documents, serious expressions, and news that would shape the next 5 years of Claire's life. "Grandmother left her estate to be divided between the 3 of us," Marcus began, sliding papers across the table. "But given your financial situation, she structured things to ensure you wouldn't waste your portion." If you've ever been treated like the family failure while your siblings acted superior, hit that like button and let me know in the comments about being underestimated by family. Make sure you're subscribed because Claire's siblings are about to learn an expensive lesson. Amanda explained that Elizabeth had left the bulk of her estate, approximately $25 million, to Amanda and Marcus, with a modest $50,000 trust fund for Claire that would pay out $500 monthly to prevent you from squandering it all at once. "It's not personal," Amanda said with false sympathy. "Grandmother wanted to protect you from yourself." Claire was devastated, but not entirely surprised. She'd spent her adult life being judged for choosing passion over profit. The will seemed to confirm what her siblings had always implied. She was the family disappointment who couldn't be trusted with real wealth. She signed the documents Amanda and Marcus provided, accepting her small trust fund while her siblings inherited millions. She didn't think to question the paperwork or consult her own attorney. Why would she? They were family. For 5 years, Claire lived on her monthly $500 payments while watching Amanda buy luxury homes and Marcus expand his business empire. She struggled with art supplies, worked part-time retail jobs, and felt the constant sting of being the one left behind. But Claire had inherited more than her siblings realized, and they'd made a catastrophic mistake that would destroy their lives completely. Chapter 2: The Accidental Discovery. 5 years after their grandmother's death, Claire's life was still a struggle. Her art career had modest success, a few gallery showings, some online sales, but nothing that provided financial security. The $500 monthly payments from her trust fund helped but weren't enough to live on comfortably. Then Claire received a strange letter from a law firm she didn't recognize, regarding the estate of Elizabeth Bennet, and required annual reporting to primary beneficiary Claire Bennet. Primary beneficiary? Claire read the letter 3 times, confused. She was the one who'd inherited almost nothing. Amanda and Marcus were the primary beneficiaries of their grandmother's estate. The letter requested Claire contact the law firm immediately regarding irregularities in estate distributions that require your immediate attention as the majority heir. Majority heir. Claire called the number listed, her hands shaking. She spoke with attorney Robert Morrison, who seemed surprised she didn't know the details of her own inheritance. Ms. Bennet, you're listed as the primary beneficiary of your grandmother's estate, Morrison explained carefully. You inherited approximately $8 million in assets, plus controlling interest in her commercial properties. Your siblings each received $500,000. Claire felt like the world had stopped spinning. That's impossible, she whispered. My siblings told me I only got a $50,000 trust fund. They showed me documents. The silence on the other end of the phone was heavy with implications. Ms. Bennet, I think you need to come to my office immediately, and you should bring any documents your siblings gave you. Chapter 3. The Fraud Revealed. The meeting at Morrison's law office revealed a systematic fraud that had been running for 5 years. Amanda and Marcus had forged estate documents, created a fake trust fund, and stolen approximately $7.5 million that rightfully belonged to Claire. Your grandmother's actual will was very clear, Morrison explained, showing Claire the legal document. She left you the majority of her estate specifically because you pursued your passion despite family pressure. She wrote in her personal letter that you were the only one who understood that life is about more than accumulating wealth. Claire stared at the documents through tears, not just from learning about the money, but from discovering that her grandmother had believed in her all along. The woman she'd thought was disappointed had actually been proud. The $500 monthly payments you've been receiving, Morrison continued, those were coming from your own inheritance. Your siblings have been controlling your money and giving you just enough to keep you from asking questions. The law firm's investigation revealed the full scope of Amanda and Marcus's fraud. They'd forged a will that showed Claire receiving minimal inheritance. They'd created fake trust documents restricting her access to money. They'd been using Claire's inheritance to fund their own business ventures and luxury purchases while keeping her impoverished and isolated. Most cruelly, they'd used Claire's own inheritance money to maintain their wealthy lifestyles while treating her like a charity case, reinforcing her belief that she was the family failure. This is criminal fraud, Morrison said gravely. Wire fraud, forgery, theft, and potentially RICO violations since it was an ongoing criminal conspiracy. Your siblings could face federal prison time. Claire sat in stunned silence as 5 years of pain and self-doubt transformed into cold fury. Chapter 4. The Sisters' Trap. Claire's first instinct was to confront Amanda and Marcus immediately, but Morrison advised a different approach. Gather more evidence, build an ironclad case, and ensure they faced full legal consequences. They've been stealing from you for 5 years, Morrison explained. Let's make sure the evidence is so comprehensive that they can't talk their way out of it. Claire worked with Morrison and a private investigator to document everything. They traced the money flow from Elizabeth's estate through various accounts and investments Amanda and Marcus controlled. They collected the forged documents, analyzed the fake signatures, and built a timeline of systematic theft. But Claire's most devastating evidence came from her own recordings. She started secretly recording her interactions with Amanda and Marcus, capturing their continued deception and condescension. During one recorded lunch with Amanda, Claire asked innocent questions about their grandmother's estate. "Your lucky grandmother left you anything at all," Amanda said with her characteristic condescension. Given your complete lack of financial responsibility, $50,000 was more than generous. Do you ever feel guilty that you got so much while I got so little? Claire asked carefully. Amanda laughed. Guilty? Claire, grandmother, made her choices based on our respective achievements. I earned my inheritance through success. You got what your life choices deserved. The recording was damning proof that Amanda knew. She was lying about the inheritance distribution and was actively maintaining the fraud. Marcus was equally incriminating during a separate recorded conversation. Look, Claire, some people are meant to accumulate wealth, and others are meant to struggle artistically. Grandmother understood that, which is why she protected you from yourself with that trust fund structure. This is where Claire's evidence becomes a weapon. If you're here for this level of family fraud justice, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments about greedy family members you've dealt with. After 3 months of evidence gathering, Morrison told Claire they were ready to spring the trap. Chapter 5: The Legal Destruction. Claire's lawsuit against Amanda and Marcus was filed on a Friday afternoon, designed to maximize their weekend panic before they could consult attorneys. The complaint detailed 5 years of systematic fraud, included financial documentation of every stolen dollar, and requested both criminal prosecution and civil damages. But Claire's most strategic move was informing Amanda and Marcus's employers and professional licensing boards before they learned about the lawsuit. Amanda's law firm received detailed documentation of her participation in inheritance fraud. Marcus's real estate license board was notified of his involvement in financial crimes. By Monday morning, Amanda had been suspended from her law firm pending investigation. Marcus had his real estate license suspended. Both were facing termination and permanent professional consequences before they'd even hired criminal defense attorneys. The criminal charges came next. Federal wire fraud, they'd transferred stolen money across state lines, forgery, theft, conspiracy, and elder abuse, defrauding an elderly person's estate. Each charge carried significant prison time, and the systematic nature of their crimes meant prosecutors could pursue enhanced penalties. But Claire's lawsuit included one more devastating element. She requested court orders freezing all of Amanda and Marcus's assets, claiming that everything they owned had been purchased with stolen inheritance money. Within a week, Amanda and Marcus went from wealthy, successful professionals to unemployed defendants with frozen bank accounts, facing decades in federal prison. Their desperate attempts to settle with Claire failed immediately. Morrison's settlement demand was simple and non-negotiable: full restitution of $7.5 million plus interest and damages, public admission of fraud, cooperation with criminal prosecution, and a written apology explaining exactly what they'd done and why. Amanda and Marcus tried to claim misunderstanding, to suggest it was a family dispute rather than criminal fraud, to argue that Claire didn't need the money anyway. None of it worked. The evidence was overwhelming, and Claire was no longer the struggling artist they could manipulate. Chapter 6: The Public Reckoning. The trial of Amanda and Marcus Bennett became a media sensation, highlighting the extreme lengths greedy siblings would go to steal family wealth. The story had everything: inheritance fraud, forged documents, and a struggling artist discovering she was secretly a millionaire. Claire's testimony was devastating. She described 5 years of believing she was the family disappointment while her siblings stole millions and used her own money to maintain their wealthy lifestyles while keeping her impoverished. They didn't just steal my money, Claire told the court. They stole 5 years of my life, my self-confidence, and my belief that my grandmother loved me. Every time I struggled to buy art supplies or pay rent, they were spending my inheritance on luxury homes and vacations. The forged documents were presented as evidence, with handwriting experts confirming Amanda and Marcus had created fake estate paperwork. Financial records showed exactly where Claire's $7.5 million had gone: Amanda's luxury homes, Marcus's business investments, expensive cars, international travel. Most damning were the recordings where Amanda and Marcus explicitly acknowledged lying to Claire about the inheritance, while expressing no remorse for keeping her in poverty. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all counts. Amanda received 7 years in federal prison plus restitution orders. Marcus got 6 years plus his own restitution obligations. Both were required to surrender their professional licenses permanently and were ordered to pay additional damages for emotional distress. But the financial destruction extended beyond criminal penalties. Claire's civil lawsuit resulted in seizure of virtually everything Amanda and Marcus owned. Their homes, cars, investment accounts, all purchased with stolen money, were liquidated to provide partial restitution. The media coverage was brutal. Business publications ran articles about the siblings who stole $7.5 million from their artist sister. Legal journals analyzed the case as an example of inheritance fraud. Social media exploded with people sharing their own stories of greedy family members. Epilogue: The artist's triumph. 3 years after discovering she'd been defrauded by her siblings, Claire Bennett stood in her own art gallery, not as a struggling artist, but as a successful gallery owner whose work commanded serious prices. The $7.5 million in recovered inheritance had been invested wisely, providing Claire with financial security she'd never imagined. But more importantly, the validation from her grandmother's actual will had given her the confidence to pursue her art without the constant weight of feeling like a disappointment. Grandmother knew what she was doing, Claire told an art magazine that featured her story. She left me the money because she understood that creative people need freedom from financial anxiety to do their best work. My siblings thought inheritance was about rewarding success they recognized. Grandmother understood it was about enabling the success she believed was possible. Amanda and Marcus were serving their prison sentences, their lives and careers permanently destroyed by their greed. Their professional reputations were ruined, their wealth gone, and their names forever associated with one of the most egregious examples of sibling inheritance fraud. But Claire's greatest satisfaction wasn't their punishment. It was proving that her grandmother's faith in her had been justified. Her art thrived when she no longer had to struggle constantly for survival. The gallery she opened showcased emerging artists who reminded her of herself, talented people who needed support and belief rather than judgment. Claire had learned the most important lesson of all. True wealth isn't just money. It's having people who believe in you and building a life that reflects your authentic values. Her siblings had stolen millions, but couldn't steal her talent, determination, or the relationship she'd had with the grandmother who truly understood her. The family disappointment had become the family success story, while the successful siblings were revealed as frauds whose achievements were built on stolen money. Sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming so genuinely successful that your betrayer's lies are exposed by your reality. Thank you for watching Consequences & Co. This inheritance fraud story proves that greedy siblings who steal from the family disappointment don't realize that betrayal always gets exposed, and some people you underestimate are actually millionaires. If Claire's transformation from struggling artist to inheritance millionaire inspired you, smash that like button and let me know in the comments about family members who underestimated you. Subscribe for more incredible tales where inheritance thieves face federal prison and the black sheep wins. Remember, family betrayal has consequences, and stolen money always gets recovered with interest. Subscribe now for more stories where greedy family gets destroyed.